Nottingham Forest 0, West Ham 3. I'm just saying it again. I've already done my review, but you're not going to get the rantings of a giddy schoolgirl. You probably can't say that. A giddy school person anymore. We're going to get some cerebral stuff. How did you enjoy that, mate?
Oh, I loved it, mate. I'll tell you what, let's make a point of saying when we come on here and we're moaning and things seem bleak, you know, we do sound a bit negative. We do have a moan. Let's bathe this in. Let's drink this in. You know, I know before I'll caveat it with don't get ahead of yourself. You know, it's only one game, but so many positives there today and so much more room for optimism. So, yeah, I really, really love that. And I will hold my hands up. I was moaning about Potter. And there was a period where I was on the WhatsApp Hammers Chat Addicts group after about 70 minutes saying he's giving me Wolves like vibes.
Today.
Yes. When we lost at Wolves, after about 70 minutes, it had been a bit drab the first half. It had been a bit boring. You could look back in retrospect and maybe say it was professional. We kept our shape and whatnot. So let's roll back a little bit. First of all, I was delighted about the change of shape because the video I did this time last week to cover you in your stead, I said that maybe the going 5-1 down at Chelsea when Potter switched to a back four, I said the little glimmer of hope is maybe that's the catalyst for change.
You did. You said about the shape. I heard
it. Yeah, I said so maybe he's figured out that conceding 11 goals in 3 games with this, you know, back 3 or back 5, whatever you prefer, it's not working. So I was delighted to see the change of shape.
He skipped out Wolves. He didn't listen to you.
No, yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. He didn't listen but what I was going to say was against Wolves, you know, we were having a moment, that period where we could see that Pereira had reacted. He brought on 4 subs. Do you remember? And they made a change and Potter just stood there watching it for 10 or 12 minutes. And we could all see the goal was coming. I started to get a little PTSD today when Forest brought on McAtee and we were just sitting back and there was a 10-minute period where we were sort of pinned back and I was thinking what we need is to shore up the midfield here. You know, we've got no out ball. And I was moaning. I'll tell you what I was doing. I thought of you because no matter what happened, I was doing like Tompkins towards Potter.
Yeah. Yes. That is an old Hammers Chat story. It's not me. It's the guy that used to sit next to me in the East Stand that used to moan about Tompkins. So, and the story going, Tompkins actually scored. And anytime Tompkins did anything wrong, go, Tompkins! And the ball came over and Tompkins jumped up for a header. And he was so used to doing it, he went, Tompkins! And Tompkins scored.
Well, that was the reference for like, you know, long time Hammers Chat subscribers. But yeah, that's what I thought of today because I was starting to get a bit like, is Potter just going to stand there and watch these like coming at us and not do anything? And I was having a moment. Then he brought on Callum Wilson, and then I kind of thought, like, is that a like for like thing? I was thinking, he's still not shored up the midfield, but the introduction of Summerville was exactly the sort of directness that we have been craving and what we needed. We'd been worried, hadn't we, for the last few weeks, that there's no link between the midfield and the front line. And that straight away, even that was a little bit of a stumbling run that fell to Bowen. It was just the fact he got the ball and he was prepared to make a charge, just made all the difference. And of course, the run for the penalty, and we'll go into individual things, but I'm elated, mate.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant. It gives defenders something else to think about as well. They're no longer just sort of looking at one or 2 players really, and it's easy to contain. And all of a sudden we're not easy to contain. It metamorphosized everybody because all of a sudden when Summerville came on, Bowen looked dangerous. Like you had that thing at the end where Bowen went on the run. Diouf looked dangerous. Wilson looked dangerous. Just they were looking around Forest and thinking, oh man, we got a lot of people to mark here. We've got a lot of things to do. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought it was sensational. Well, let's talk about the defence to start off with at the start of the game. The whole lot. Walker Peters in there at right back. The 2 central defenders, Kilman, Mavropanos, and of course Diouf at left back. You know, really the main out of position person because he's not a left back. What did you make of them in the first whatever? I don't know, sort of 80 minutes of the game or whatever.
I thought he did great. I really liked Walker Peters at the back, like on right back. I really liked him. I don't know if AWB as old Obi-Wan Bissaka. I don't know if he's got a knock or whatever. I was surprised to maybe not see him included, but I thought Walker Peters was a worthy replacement. I liked his energy, and he's got that kind of small, diminutive, sort of nippy sort of fullback about him. He's a sort of bit like a fullback version of Summerville in many respects in terms of his frame and carrying the ball, and it's a couple of great tackles, good timing. I really liked him. I thought hats off to Diouf, who, as you say, was technically out of position. I thought defensively he was really quite good. Won a few headers at the back post. Got some clearances. I was worried about him getting into the game because we've had this situation where up until now we've been finding it hard to get balls over to the left for him. We've almost been floating them and you could see them coming and we couldn't get there. And I did wonder if the inclusion of Fernandes would allow us to quicken up the passing out to the left. But we spoke recently about he doesn't seem to beat a man, but what he does do well is overlap and show himself for a 1-2, and that works really well with him. Shout out before we move too far out the field. I'm thrilled for a Manson today to get a bit of confidence back and keep a clean sheet. And the defensive pairing, I thought were really I thought Mavropanos was a revelation. I thought he was exactly the sort of physical presence that we needed. Not that there was many headers, but you've got someone competent in there in the air for crosses, and Kilman had a couple of shaky moments, but generally I thought Kilman had a good game as well. So I was delighted with the defence and the goalkeeper today. I was really pleased with that.
Yeah, I was very grateful for him actually, after what happened with Gerds, and just for players that wanna play and do play. And I thought I was so pleased, and I thought really backs to the wall stuff. But the eternal pessimist in you, that's a West Ham fan, you're thinking that they're going to nick this at the end, and it will just be like one of those brave performances. So I was so pleased for him. Actually, I don't know if you saw the interview with Bowen at the end. I almost felt he was like close to tears. Do you know what I mean? And he might not have been. It might have just been probably just me actually, but I really felt so much relief. From all of the players, really. What did you make of? So, what did you make of the new signing then? What did you make of Fernandes?
I think he looked at home, didn't he? He didn't look like a new boy. Came straight in. I was like wagging my finger and shaking my fist in the first half that he was a little bit too out on the left, and I wanted him to see more central and getting involved and linking up with Paqueta and others. I thought Paqueta was sensational. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I thought Fernandes, I wanted to see him more in the middle. When we switched it a little bit in the second half and he managed to get a bit more drifting in, a bit more central, I thought he was marvellous. But yeah, I don't want to see him sort of shunted out on the left. I thought when I looked at the lineup, I thought it would be Paqueta on the left.
Agreed. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it became evident quite early. He was back in the right back position, winning tackles and floating over to the right wing. So he seemed to, I put in the chat, in the Alex chat, do we think he's got a free role today? Because he seemed to be everywhere. He seemed to have license Paqueta to roam.
He did.
But yeah, coming back to what you say about Fernandes, I think he's going to get better and better. He suits us. He's a proper 8, and that's what we needed. Some athleticism, someone who can get up and down. He can put a tackle in, He could pass about. Our passing and our link-up play looked better because he was a cog in the wheel. I think that's just another piece of the puzzle that's hopefully going to come together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought there was he was not given enough responsibility out on the left, and I think particularly because one person in the middle played so particularly poorly in James Ward-Prowse, and I thought, yeah, this is, as I said, the thing is, it's not like Souček was brilliant, but Souček was winning headers at the back post. Souček can play poorly and have moments. Ward-Prowse doesn't. He doesn't have the moments that, where you think, okay, well, that other stuff is not working. He's not doing that other stuff. So I do think eventually you will see Fernandes in the middle, and I think we'll be, much the better for it. But I thought he was really linking as much as he could. It was nice to see him when he played alongside Paqueta, because there were moments there, but you felt they were kept apart by the system, actually. So hopefully if Paqueta does stay, we'll see a lot more of them together. Actually, moving straight on to Paqueta, what did you make of him today?
Brilliant. He really did sort of put his plumage out, didn't he, and show his feathers and strut his stuff. He seemed to have a little point to prove today, and the work ethic was back there again today. We didn't see so much, if any, of the rolling around, holding his face stuff. He sort of rolled his sleeves up a little bit today, as far as I'm concerned. When he does that, he links up, he puts the foot in. That's when you see how good he can be. He always terrifies the life out of me with his run-ups for penalties. But, I think his technique is just to commit the keeper wait until the keeper goes. And I think Mark Noble used to do a similar thing, maybe not with a sort of funny semicircle run up, but that, you know, they leave it to the last minute and your heart's in your mouth. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant today. Arguably man of the match. I mean, you'd maybe say that Summerville's a contender for his impact. And I thought Mavropanos was brilliant. But yeah, Paqueta was the main man for me today. And I'm sure I've not managed to watch your reaction video yet because, you know, we've jumped on pretty much as you know, as soon as you've done that. But I'm sure you would have spoke about the goal celebration and what, you know, what that means.
I don't think I did. I was like a giddy. Honestly, I was like a giddy school person. It was the worst review I think I've ever done in my life. I started giggling. I started recording before I even had my mic clipped on. I was ecstatic. I've not celebrated. I said in my review, I've not celebrated as much at home for such a long time. I'd actually forgotten what it felt like to win handsomely. By the time we got the second goal, I thought we're going to win this. It needs the second goal because you're West Ham. And he, you know, and I thought, well, that's handy because the 9 minutes as well. And then we got the third. Probably up to the second, and then by the end of it, I'm disappointed we went 1-4-0. So that's how quickly football can change. So no, I didn't. Go on, tell us about the celebration.
Well, why not be giddy and enjoy it? And just a funny thing, why I think of it, we'll go on that sec. I recorded Overloud and C Word for Patreon yesterday with Sat and Gatesy, and we said at the beginning, we're recording the day before the game because we've got plenty to speak about. So this might go out of date quickly. So I said, well, what we'll do is we'll just guesstimate. Let's have a chat about our 4-0 win at Nottingham Forest, like, you know, having a joke.
Yeah.
But it very nearly could have
been.
But there's no way in my wildest dreams I thought that was going to happen. Yeah, so, you know, viewers would have seen when Paqueta slotted away the penalty, he seems to gesture like, you know, there's been a phone call, not bothered about that, and I'm staying here kissing the badge. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it would be disingenuous of him to move to Villa tomorrow having just kissed the badge. I know we did see Rice do something similar in the Conference League, but I think that's him saying to us, I'm staying here. And if he's going to perform like that, we're lucky to have him when he's got his head and he's on it like that.
I think he was trying to say they tried to take my phone off me for a second time in the hearing. But I'd given it to me nephew. He'd wiped it clean.
Good job I got rid of the evidence, he was saying. Uncle Bruno, wipe your phone.
Well, I left the betting slip in my pocket. That's what he was doing. We joke. About the betting slip bit anyway. Yeah, magnificent. I'm absolutely thrilled. Callum, say some words about Callum Wilson then.
Well, again, I've got all my hands up, right? You know, I thought he was 97 years of age. I'm a little bit worried now. Here's me one little negative, right? Here's me one little negative. You know, typical West Ham, something creeps up, like we get through in the semi-finals of the Cup, and then we fielded like Omni Wimney, or whatever his name was, and then we have to play it again because we've cheated. Right.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit worried. I'm a bit worried the FA are going to have a 2-year investigation into this because we've played someone who's a centre forward, and I think we might be cheating. I can't believe we've got a player like someone who makes strikers runs. We've not had that for how many years? I mean, we love Antonio. He didn't really make those runs, did he? Bowen doesn't really make those strikers instinctual strikers runs in behind and gets in those goal scoring positions. You know, Arnautovic, we never really had that. So to have someone who, even though he's maybe a little past his peak, I thought he made an instant impact. He came straight on, got that shot away. And you could see that Bowen, when he went round like everyone and their nan in the team, you could see he was fuming because he took it off his toe. And there's like mixed feelings on that. Part of me's thinking, get out of the way for God's sake. And the other part of me's thinking, but that's what goal scorers do.
For sure.
You know what I mean? They're selfish, and you want. I thought he was selfish as well when he sort of controlled it beautifully just inside the box and managed to wriggle past 2 or 3 players.
Great
and
footwork.
No one wanted to. Yeah, brilliant footwork. Yep. No one wanted to commit to the challenge in case they brought him down. But even at an acute angle, he managed to get a shot away rather than trying to get it across the box. So you can see that he's keen. He's a bagsman. He's keen to score goals, and I think that's a good thing. To be honest with you, I like Full Crew, but like I've voiced with you, I feel like he's less effective at the moment, dropping deep. And I wanted to see him further up the pitch. I said in the width for the 6-yard box, giving their centre back something to think about and keeping them pinned back a bit. Wilson does that. you know, and I would start Wilson for the next game. You know, after
Well,
the
I think
international
you
break.
have to. I didn't say it in a review because I just didn't want to. I mean, I thought Fulkrug was horrendous. Actually, actually horrendous, and we need to buy a striker.
Yeah.
I'm quite clear on that, and that's the only thing that worried me. What I don't want is them to look at Wilson, go right. We don't need a striker now because he gets injured. He's quality. You can see his quality. That's not beyond doubt. Callum Wilson is a Premier League standard goal scorer, right? At Premier League level, no problem with that at all. It's his body that's the problem, and I think you are going to have more problems if not. Now, listen, what we didn't get to see was, I guess, Fulkrug with Summerville. Maybe, I mean, he seems to improve everybody else. Summerville, you find it up. You talk about Juff, all of a sudden, I'm still adamant that run from Juff was because Summerville's there.
Yeah.
But we got balance there as well. So I just think if everybody else seemed to look better, why wouldn't Fulkrug? But I still think, you know, we got a real opportunity. This wasn't a get out of jail free card because we earned it. The defence earned it. Graham Potter earned it. There was no luck today. That was when we do our patron player ratings. You know, we discuss these things, and the Graham Potter's tactic was definitely to keep it tight, then try and win the game late on. It worked. So it's not a get out of jail free. It was planned and it was intended. So if you're going to criticize him when the tactics are crap and don't work, then you have to be even-handed and praise him when his tactics do work. But irrespective of whether you like the tactics or you don't, what would worry me would be that we don't go out and get the additional players that we perhaps need. But what was nice, I felt, was the balance of the team. Then it just to see Juff going down there, and it wasn't just he didn't just do the one cross for Wilson. There was another one as well, which just overran Bowen. So all of a sudden, you had the team had opened. So I'm like a vampire here. You had the team bit of sunshine like you over there. See, we've got a bit of sunshine here today. Yeah, I thought we had some balance. But we had some attacks on both sides. We had some creativity through the middle. I thought we looked like a team. And you know what a great result going into the international break. Just an amazing, good result. That just I don't know if it means you're looking up or you're looking down, but you're just not staring at everybody above you. And even if nothing else, it just makes me think if we get all our players, maybe we're not the worst team in the league, which is what I finished my video saying really earlier on. I'd sort of take that. Any other? I think we've covered most of the players. Irving coming on, did that surprise you?
Did surprise me. Again, I was, hands up. I was shaking my fist because all indications were that he was going to go, potentially to Wrexham. So you sort of wonder why. I feel for Potts. I will say I feel for Freddie Potts, and that's maybe a conversation for another day. But he needs to, him or his parents or whoever's around him need to have a conversation, figure out what's best for him. I think for the future going forward, because if you consider that he was below JWP and Rodriguez and Irving, and now we've brought in, Magassi and Fernandes, he's gone right down the pecking order there, and he's just had 2 good loans, so he's giving me sort of Josh Cullen vibes, and I'd be disappointed with that. So I don't know if he needs another loan or whether there's any value in that, or whether he's got to be patient for his time or for the cup or whatever. But I'd certainly want a conversation with a manager about how he does fit into his plans and stuff. So that's that. Yeah, I thought Irving did well when he came on. He always is dependable, isn't he? He's not going to set the world alight, but I think it was him that laid a couple of good balls and 1-2s with Juff as well. He is neat and tidy in the past. I thought that, like you say about balance, I don't think I'd factored in how much of an impact Summerville would make in his return.
No,
the conversation had all been, where is the position for Summerville in this 5 at the back, 3 at the back thing. Got to give credit to Potter for having the spirit of his convictions and the bravery there to screw that up, throw out the window and change the shape, and some of the personnel he picked and to go for that when there's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah,
I mean, he must see now that this suits what we've got. We were saying the other week about you're not quite using. It's typical West Ham. We're not quite using the best person for the job. And I said, when he looks at what he's got at his disposal, I can't see how he gets the best out of Wan-Bissaka, of course, Bowen, and so on. We went through it. I felt like today it started to click a little bit. I will caveat with there's still massive problems at the top of the club, and one swallow does not a summer make. You know what I mean? And we're there's going to be weeks where we come and we lose and we don't look so great. But for goodness sake, let's be allowed to enjoy this today.
I think that's the point. It was one of the first messages on my thing, and I thought, oh yeah, look, I've spoken about what's wrong with the club at length. Yes, I mean, you put all the videos together, hours and hours and hours of this stuff. We know what's wrong. Brady and Sullivan, we know this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But can we? Yeah, you're right. Can we enjoy this 90 minutes and because ultimately, it is. I'd forgotten what it felt like for West Ham to win like that, and I'm now looking at it, and I like it when this happens, when you can actually start to look at the team. And I've not seen so much of it. Like when you start signing players and you go on social media and people have got like their little graphic and they make up their own team. They go, oh, hold on a second. So we've got this player, this. And if we sign this guy, he will go there. And they present it. This is my team. Right? I like that. I like seeing people do that. The fact that there's been so little of it shows you how miserable it's been. I just haven't seen people doing it. And because you need a little bit of faith and you need a little bit of hope and you need a little bit of promise to do that stuff, because I started doing it mentally. So I start thinking, oh, hold on, what's my team? My goalkeeper, and I've got my back four. And then, oh, hold on, I've got a midfield three of Magassa, Fernandes, and Paqueta. I've got Bowen on the right. I've got Summerville on the left. And which I can bring a striker in. All of a sudden, I'm liking my imagined team. I like it. I think, oh, hold on, that's a good team. We are, we're not far off it. So just finally, before we go, you want to keep Paqueta?
Yes, please. And just to your point there, before we move on, if you don't mind, I think that's why it's so important to enjoy these moments, because football is ups and downs. Do you know what I mean? So let's allow ourselves. We're under no illusions. Let's allow ourselves to enjoy this. There's going to be wins. There's going to be losses. Let's drink this in, celebrate this, and go into the international break with something to smile about. When was the last time we had 3 goals to cheer and positives and signs of evolution and signs of it coming together? So I would really urge yourself to enjoy it like I'm going to, and anyone watching. Let's allow ourselves to do that without going, yeah, but you know what I mean? I love this.
You're absolutely right. And I just want to elaborate on that as well, actually. I used the word buzzing after we signed Fernandes. I'm saying I'm buzzing with this. And again, there are a few messages, people said, buzzing, are you sure? And it was almost like you shouldn't be. And it was almost like, no, you need to regulate your excitement. You need to regulate how happy you are. I don't want to do that. I'm up and down. As you know me. I'm up and down like a yo-yo anyway in life. Do you know what I mean? I'm when I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm miserable, I'm miserable. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Enjoy 3-0 win for West Ham. We might not have another 3-0 win this season. So yeah, it is important that you enjoy it. So yeah, so you keep in Paqueta. Would you? I don't need names. Any more strengthening you feel needs to be done in what positions realistically?
So I think maybe my only one game, but maybe I'm a little more calm about the goalkeeping situation now. Okay. So I think that'll be all right for the moment. I still think we need a no nonsense centre back, a leader. Like someone like a James Collins or a Dawson who will put their head in. But I don't think we're going to get that. And I think now that Aguerd, if Aguerd goes, we can get in a Charlie Cresswell. That's ideal. But I thought in terms of that sort of no nonsense, not so pretty, frills. I thought Mavropanos did a good job today. So maybe that there's an option. I would still, I had been saying I would love a more creative midfielder, but that was in terms of thinking about the link-up play. But now I hadn't factored in the impact of the directness of Summerville. I kind of feel a little bit better about that today, because you're right. The word there you said is exactly what I'm thinking. That's balance. That gives you a left side, a right side, good fallback, either AWB or Carl Walker-Peters one side. You've got Juve overlapping the other side with Summerville and Bowen on the right. So you've got balance now.
Yes.
You look stronger in the middle with Fernandes. We'll see what Magassi's like as well. And maybe we'll talk another day about where he fits in. But you've got options now. I'm like you. I wouldn't want to hang my hat on a whole season on Krug and Wilson. I still think we need a pacey option because there will be teams we come against that play a high line, and then you're not going to have the pace in Wilson's legs to get behind, and you're certainly not going to get that style of play from Krug, who tends to drop deeper to get involved. I'd like someone who could get on the shoulder and really cause them a problem and give them something to think about and stretch teams. So, even if it's a young player, maybe not, we've got our sort of veteran Premier League goal scorer in Wilson. I just think we need some pace. What I was thinking about the other day, I was laying in bed thinking about the relegated teams, and I don't know how he got on, or if even he's still there. But do you remember how fast Patterson Daka was when Leicester
he was, rapid, one of the fastest players you've seen.
Somebody like that, I don't think's unattainable. I don't even know if he's still at Leicester or whatever. But just somebody
they paid 25 million for him, I think. They paid a lot of money for him.
Yeah, someone to give him a fright who they've got to watch the space in behind. So I'd still like that, I think. But generally, things are looking up. And it's funny how fickle we are as fans. But compared to what we recorded yesterday on Overland and Seaward, that today has given me a bit more faith in what we got and how he's utilising them.
Well, yeah, I was going to defend you on that. I don't think it's fickle to be upset when you're losing and then be joyous when you're winning. That I would suggest there's almost no point in going through football flatlined. Particularly when you go to the games. I mean, you couldn't. You're going to jump up and down and cuddle the fella next to you. That's what it is. You're meant to think that everything is horrendous and be dreading the train journey home when you lose. That's it. I think maybe where we can be fickle is our appraisal of players and all the rest of it. But I haven't suddenly changed my opinion on Graham Potter after this, but I am pleased for him because I don't like to see anyone suffer. And he has now allowed me to think, well, actually, maybe if you've done this, you're not as stubborn as I thought you were. And if you can see how this formation gets better out of Bowen, he's going to get better out of some of your other players as well, then I think that's a good survival instinct for him. I want to see the survival instinct. I want to see him fight for his job. And as I've said, give the opposition manager something to think about. And not just the manager. By the end of it, the Forest defenders didn't know whether they were going to be turned inside, out, left, right. They didn't know where to turn it. In the end, you look at Bowen's run. That Bowen's run came from the left. They didn't know where people were coming from. And so... Good defenders. A good defence, Nottingham Forest. A good defence. There won't be. I'm going to suggest that there won't be too many teams that put 3 goals past them. But by the end of them, they didn't know whether they were coming or going.
Yeah, and there's positives here. The fact that we couldn't see him changing the shape, we thought he was wedded to it, and he's done it. Hats off to him, right? And that is exactly what you always talk about. That team sheet would have gone in, and that would have had Nuno scratching his head. Because he wouldn't have been expecting that to happen with the shape we've been playing all through pre-season. So that would have made him sort of running around trying to get a few tactics and last-minute things down. And you don't know if that was the difference in the end. I don't know. I know it was quite late into the game that we made our little forge for it. But, that's the sort of thing you want. I think the reason I feel a little fickle is because I couldn't see him changing his shape. So I sort of felt in a rut with it. And I didn't really consider the impact to Summerville because I didn't expect him back yet. I thought that was after the international break. And I didn't expect there to be a position for him. So I didn't even factor it in. But that now has really given some balance that I couldn't see before. So that's massive.
Yeah. We've now got there's just things to enjoy, and I came away from there thinking, like you are, I thought, well done to the centre backs. I thought the full backs for different reasons did well, and I was delighted with the debut of Fernandes, delighted with the reaction of Lucas Paqueta. Was not expecting that from Callum Wilson. Bowen looked better, and then you've got Summerville. You just thought, oh man, I've almost forgotten all about him actually. And there's a lot. I mean, that is 5 or 6 things I've mentioned there. And yesterday I'm looking forward to nothing. So there's now, I mean, bring on the next game, but in a cautious way, because actually the benefit that Summerville will get from playing however long he played for in this, whatever that 25 minutes, whatever it was, that I couldn't tell you. That, then 2 weeks on the training pitch, and then the next Premier League game. That's almost that's almost how you plan it as a physio. You know, to build up that strength and the surgery is the same surgery that Mikel Antonio had, and touch wood, after he had that, he never had another hamstring injury. Antonio, it's the same thing that Saka had. Same surgery, same thing, exactly same surgery, same surgeon as well. So, and I think they're pretty much all successful on that. So hopefully that's it. That's done. And we just got another. It does feel like having a new signing with Summerville there.
He didn't look any less explosive either, did he? Which is wonderful.
That's a good point. No, he didn't. He looked a handful.
The old fast twitch muscles. So if he's had the same recovery as Antonio changed his diet drastically as well, didn't he?
A bit like yourself at the moment.
Like myself. I just worry it'll affect Summerville's driving is the only thing I'm worried about.
Absolutely. I'm more worried that Summerville might get in at 7 o'clock in the morning after a long night out, mate.
We won't talk about that, mate.
No, we won't talk about that. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely to speak to you, as always.
Lovely to cheer.
We'll have a little chat next week, yeah?
Yes, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, next week. Cool, Sunday. Yeah, we'll have a little chat in the week. And thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for interacting on all the videos, interacting with Michael when he uploads a video and gives me a much-needed rest. So, yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Subscribe if you wouldn't mind, please. Most of you have, to be fair. I've been blown away by the number of subscribers. I really have. But if you haven't, I'm not telling you off because I'm really bad at this stuff. Somewhere below, there's a little red box that says subscribe. Press that. There's a bell next to it. Then you get a notification next time we upload. Very helpful, actually. I've really noticed that, the incline in the analytics, as they say. Anyway, there you go. Right. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am honestly off to watch the Grand Prix now. I've avoided the result. You told me earlier that somebody had won, didn't you?
Yeah, Damon Hill or someone, was it? Nigel Mansell.
I might be like that.